slushy snow piled up, and it was our first accumulating snow for cities like Toronto and Hamilton. Glad you could join us. I'm meteorologist Nicole Karkic with Chris Murphy and Nadine Powell. We're going to break it all down for you. How much longer is this going to last? But first, let's go to Chris, who is in downtown Toronto, where you had a bit of a slushy commute over. How's it look over there?
Well, the snow is falling lightly. The wind isn't too bad. Earlier, the leaves were rustling, maybe just a little bit. So it's not that much of a wind chill. But just look how I'm dressed. You got the warm hat, the toques. Good footwear will be key because this is that heavy wet snow. I mean, there's probably a good 5 centimeters down, but it's packing snow. In fact, I've started to build a bit of a snowman here. It's a work in progress. But before you head out, you're going to certainly need to brush off the car. So that's going to take some time consuming. You may have to shovel as well, and because it's that wet, heavy snow, you want to take your time. And also, don't forget to top up the windshield washer fluid because it's getting to be that kind of year, and you want to make sure you get the heavy duty stuff, not the summer wash. That's not going to cut it. So it's, you know what it really is? It's the first snowfall of the year. Been talking to a few people saying, what do you think? And most people seem to be taking it on stride. Nobody willing just yet to come on camera and swear by it, but certainly that seems to be it. I would say, Nicole and Nadine, that it's the kind of snow that the kids will really enjoy because it's good for making snowballs and snowmen.
Oh, good point. And you know what? Just a reminder, Toronto has not seen snow since Easter Monday. So it has been a while since we've seen, this type of situation. And, in downtown Toronto where Chris is, we've kind of seen the snow stop and kind of fill in again off towards Hamilton. Same sort of thing. But Guelph, Peterborough, certainly snow still flying. You're going to be brushing it off. And during the commute, it's wet, it's slushy. But there's only about a couple of centimeters left to go here for Southern Ontario. Head towards the east, though, Cobourg, Kingston, Ottawa, you're still getting into the thick of it currently into mid-afternoon. And for Southern Quebec, that's the same thing. So snow tapering off here by that kind of 11, 12 o'clock hour. We're still going to hold on to the cloud cover and below average temperatures. But I would say, along the 401 towards Kingston into Montreal, eastern townships, that's where it's going to take a little bit longer today for things to wrap up. Lake effect snow, though, setting up in the wake of this. I know you're like, I can't even compute what's happening this morning, but then late today into tomorrow, just want to say beware of what's going on in those traditional snowbelt areas. Now, Nadine, I know you're looking at the radar, the nitty gritty about who's seeing what right now as we're heading outside.
Yes, Nicole, for anyone who is just about to head out the door, there are a couple of areas where we are seeing some mixing, other areas with some breaks in there as well. And I'll take you to the radar imagery, start off with the wide shot. And first of all, I'll take you along the QEW for us, where as you head closer to St. Catharines region, you're actually into a mix and a few breaks we can see there just coming around the lake. So some good news there with that particular drive. But then you'll notice now once we head around the western end of Lake Ontario, so from Burlington toward the Oakville region, a slight break there, but there are a couple of patches where we're still seeing some more snowfall. So anyone traveling along the QEW, say from Oakville toward the Toronto area, just closer to the lake shore, there's still a bit of snowfall there. But then as you head northward, you get into a few breaks. So it just really depends on where you are driving into or from. Your conditions will change drastically because you can see here, and you alluded to this, Nicole, a little bit before, heading down the 400 here, we've got some dry spots on the DVP as well. So that drive isn't too bad. But then once you head east of the city, now heading toward the Oshawa Port Hope area, and then a couple of spots just west end of the GTA heading toward the western end of Lake Ontario. That's where we are actually still seeing some snowfall across the region. And of course, for anyone traveling outside the city, we have a big chunk of widespread light snowfall across areas to the north and west of the city and in through Peterborough and the Kawarthas as well. So that's how things look on the roads right now. Quite variable, Chris. But of course, I see the snow has accumulated, and I think at Pearson we've picked up about 7 centimeters since yesterday.
Well, that probably sounds about right. I'm not near Pearson. I'm downtown. I also want to show you something else here. So under this layer of snow, I just shoveled a little bit. You can see this little, it's rather icy as well. So this is going to be one of those days where you want to make sure you have a good pair of boots, good traction. You don't want to take a spill, certainly. I mean, if this was January or February, we'd be all used to this by now. But, you heard Nicole mentioning earlier that, it's really the first snowfall since the Easter weekend. So as a result, it's getting back into that frame of mind, oh my goodness, the heavier jackets. I got to scrape off the car, or my walk towards the bus is going to be extra slow as well. And also, we've got to think about accessibility as well. If there is snow on your sidewalk, give that a clear, because that can be a real barrier for people getting back and forth as well. Otherwise, the snow is light. It's actually quite beautiful. I mean, it's starting to think about Christmas is around the corner, and I think this is going to get a lot of people in the swing of things. But, I would say, Nicole, if you don't have to be on the roads with this, it's far more enjoyable.
The work from home. Really nice for today, perhaps. You know what?
Yes.
I always love that first snowfall of the season. And then I think it's probably like the 10th one. By the 10th one, I'm like, okay. Now it's just... Now it's getting old. The snow came in yesterday. It was kind of slushy. Pearson yesterday specifically recorded 4 centimeters. We've seen more pile up in the overnight. As we get you to 12 o'clock, this is our forecast road conditions. The blue is going to change over to green. So more so wet roads instead of slushy, snowy roads, because we're going to see we're seeing the snow clearing out. And then by the end of the day, we're not going to see the flakes flying across the sky. But on the radar here, looks, pretty snowy off towards places like Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, Barrie down to Toronto. You've kind of seen breaks. It's been in and out. East End towards Cobourg and Peterborough, still seeing the snow filling in. Now, the roads look like this. They're slushy. They're wet. My drive in earlier this morning, that left lane on the highway had not been plowed. So that was certainly where it was just, tricky, a little bit slower. Not everyone has their winter tires on yet either. So of course you still have a lot of people going slow. Some people maybe going a little too fast, but it's just this day where we're all adjusting. I will say that we've got just an additional under 2 centimeters left to go. So the bulk of the snow has fallen, but it's just the timing of this is happening during right now, this morning commute. If you're traveling towards Kingston, nation's capital, this continues through mid-morning and afternoon. So that's where we're going to certainly see a more, travel headaches, I suppose. But there's that snow tapering off, still holding on to cloud cover for this afternoon. So keep that in mind, but it's the east there where we're still seeing the snow, and then in the wake of this, lake effect is setting up. Temperatures as we look to this evening, shaping up like this. -8 for Chapleau, -2 for Parry Sound. And London, Toronto, that right around the freezing mark is just a signal to kind of take care of the slushy snow that you have, because some of it can get a little bit icy in the overnight. Now, Nadine, let's take a look back at the radar and see how things are looking. Who's getting the breaks? Who's seeing the heavier snow right now?
Yes, Nicole. Well, we are seeing a little bit of mixing around the Niagara region, but as we look toward the QEW, coming around the western end of Lake Ontario, starting to see a few breaks in there. So conditions are quite variable around southern Ontario. You're certainly seeing some of that across, say, Oakville, heading toward Mississauga, toward the west end of the city. But you notice as you head northward, heading up the 400, you get into some breaks there. So better driving conditions for those regions. I want to quickly, though, just bring to your attention, excuse me, one of those mornings for us. Toronto Pearson tweeting that despite the winter weather, operations at the airport are running smoothly. Only a few minor delays they are saying, and they're saying that it's always best to check the status of your flight. Want to take you to another tweet here and some pictures from Casper, so at JBPV. FM, tweeting out some pictures. He is in, or JBV is in Newmarket, And you can see there some snowfall, the accumulations, looks like patio furniture and everything snow covered, but the roads seem to be okay. Lots of snow on the trees, and of course this started falling yesterday. And just taking a look at some of the patio furniture and the barbecue grill, we can see there, I would think this is the backyard. Yeah, everything is snow covered, and of course with what we've been seeing on the radar, certainly depends on where you are, those variable conditions. And if we zoom out a bit, we see that the snowfall just to the west of the 400, so coming around Highway 10 through Orangeville, the west end of the GTA, that is slowly creeping its way eastward. But the good news is that that should be winding down as we progress through the morning. However, it is still quite a dicey drive out there, and quite dicey for many of the pedestrians trying to navigate the sidewalks. So you can see there a lot of the snow continuing to push off toward the east. We have some issues on the roads for us right now. Some of them perhaps left over from earlier this morning. Now it looks black on the road there, so at least the roads have been plowed, some of them, but certainly there are a couple of slick spots in and around the GTA. We can see some emergency vehicles just to the left on the shoulder there, so perhaps responding to an accident. And you can see as well, although the roads look bare, a couple of incidents out there. You can see on the, I think coming down there, we're seeing some flashing lights just pulled over on the side. So just be aware of variable conditions on the roads. Might look bare, might look dry, but of course there are some slushy spots still out there. And certainly very slushy, Chris, more than slushy where you are out in Toronto, downtown.
Downtown, indeed, and we've got Mad Hen with us. And Mad Hen, first of all, you look like you're dressed up very appropriately for this.
Yes, I do.
Are you warm enough?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think about this early gift of winter?
Well, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
and I like it. I love it because for so many years we don't have this early winter,
Yes.
and it's white, and it's fantastic.
And you're on your way too?
I'm on my way to work at the Chelsea Hotel.
Oh, well, thank you so much for stopping by. And you know what? You've got the right attitude. We're here. We can't, you know what? We can't do anything about it, so we might as well enjoy it.
Yes.
Well-
we cannot do anything, but it's nice. It's not that too cold,
Yes.
so it's not that freezy. So it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Look around. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the first snowfall, I think, is more fun. By about the 10th or 11th, we've probably had enough.
Yes, maybe.
Have fun.
But it's Canada.
It is
So
Canada.
we can't do anything. This is where we come. So we have to enjoy whatever comes in front of us.
Very
Nice,
philosophical.
and I love it.
Thank you. You know what? Have a good day at work today. Thank you for joining us on the Weather Network today. And we'll talk to you soon. And careful walking, too, because it is a little slippery here as well. Well, Mad Hen certainly has the right idea, and that is, we've got to embrace it. But if you're going to be driving in it or walking around, and seeing a lot of people, walking very carefully and slowly, getting over some of those snowbanks, get the roads, thank you very much, get the roads time to get all salted up and whatnot. Nicole, as you've been mentioning, the snow tapering off in intensity, but just look at the sky there. That is a battleship gray sky right there. Those are nimbostratus clouds. So what we're looking at is still a little more snow to go for in the meantime.
That's right, just in the commute hour. I loved your attitude. Great vibes there. -1 in Toronto for this morning. Feels like -3 with a pretty light northerly wind. Now the snow, we haven't seen snow since Easter Monday. And on average, in November, we see 9 centimeters of it. So you know what? This is to be expected. It generally happens, right? And it's happening for today. Yesterday we saw it, sort of the appetizer of it. Pearson recorded 4 centimeters. That's the first accumulating snow of the season. We're sort of in and out on the radar here. Around Barrie, we've seen a bit of a break, so that's nice for as you're getting out the roads, but certainly off back towards Stratford and Guelph here, seeing a little bit of heavier snow into Peterborough and the nation's capital too. If you're wondering how much more left, it's about general 2 centimeters, under 2 centimeters, with the exception of as you head towards Kingston and Ottawa. You're going to deal with it longer, so you've got about 5 centimeters left to go. Same thing into Montreal and eastern townships. It's ongoing for today, but tapering off on these major routes along the 401 around that 11, 12 o'clock hour. And then we'll continue to see the cloudy conditions and then heads up for lake effect snow starting late tonight into Thursday. So that'll be the next story that we're following for you. Could be hit pretty hard there. So a recap of our forecast here on the roads. We're going to see this clearing trend for this mid-morning, and then tonight, I promise it's going to be an easier commute from a weather perspective, Nadine. But right now, as people are heading on the roads, it's messy, it's slushy. I don't know, it wasn't my worst drive in, but it was just, I was going slow and grabbing and holding onto the wheel stronger than I have all week.
Well, you know, Nicole, it's that first drive, that first, snowy drive that really surprises us, even though we know it's coming. But, I think we'll be okay here on after, because now we're conditioning ourselves that, okay, there is more of this to come.
I like that attitude. I like it.
Well, yeah, that snow certainly is coming down very light across the GTA, lighter in some spots. Just want to show you a picture here for us from Adam Correa. This is in Kingston, showing us snowy scenes for us in the region. And of course, it's not just across much of the GTA, but also pushing into Eastern Ontario. And you know what? As a matter of fact, Adam, you are seeing actually some of the heavier snowfall right now. You can see there some darker hues with the profile of the reflectivity on this radar here. So certainly showing us that you are getting some slightly heavier snowfall coming down right now. But for anyone across the GTA who is heading out momentarily, you can certainly see the variability in the intensity of the precipitation. There are some clear spots you can see just heading up the 400 here from Toronto. So anyone traveling through this region, the drive should be a little bit better for us, and even across the DVP as well. But you'll notice now as we head to areas to the west, to the northwest of Toronto, so heading up around, say, Highway 10, for instance, the west end of the city, Highway 10 toward Orangeville, heading into the Milton region along the 401, we're still looking at snowfall affecting the travel through that region, and even down toward the Kitchener region. You see there are a couple of breaks if we zoom in a bit just around the western end of Lake Ontario toward Hamilton, getting into some light snowfall now. But the closer you go towards, say, St. Catharines, that's where you get into that bit of mix. As a matter of fact, I mentioned Milton just a little while ago, where we are seeing some of that snowfall. Dr. Doug reporting 9 centimeters in the Milton area. And of course, he thinks it looks absolutely pretty. I'm not sure the drivers who have to contend with perhaps some earlier incidents on the roads will think that it's pretty, but we're seeing there a couple of vehicles pulled over on the shoulder. We've got one transport truck there in the up ahead, and a couple of cars as well behind. So the roads look good for now. They look nice and clear, but of course there are some slushy patches here and there. So many drivers taking it slow. You can see one direction, it's free-flowing. The other direction, heading into Toronto, is certainly slow, because that's where most of the commuters are coming into downtown. So, of course, you have to, take it easy. Give yourself some distance between yourself and the car in front of you. And always a good idea to drive not only for yourself on the road conditions, but for perhaps the other drivers on the roads who might not be able to react as quickly, Chris.
Yes, indeed. And, I heard you talking about the roads, Nadine, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this one here, but Highway 427 northbound, that's a busy artery in Toronto, near the Pearson Airport. A tractor trailer crashed into a concrete wall, struck a light standard, and ended up jackknifed, and cleanup will take several hours. So that is definitely going to be an area you'll want to avoid. All right, so it is the first snowfall of the season. November snowfalls, not unheard of. We generally get snow every November, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a bit later. So we've got to be prepared. We got to take a look. Hi there. We got to make sure we've got our windshield washer fluid. We got to make sure we're going to be a few extra minutes this morning scraping off the car. So give yourself that kind of time. It is packing snow. Take a look at that. This is snowman and snowball making weather. So that means if you have to shovel in your area, you want to take some breaks. I mean, it's not 20 centimeters, but nonetheless, it doesn't take much to fill up that shovel, and picking it up will be a heavy one. So it's not that light, drifty, blowy snow that, takes no time to clear. So there's all of that. It is slushy out there. It's a little icy under there as well. Some of those roads like bridges, ramps, overpasses, particularly slippery. So we've got to, slow down for all of that. But other than that, the snow is falling lightly. The wind, it has a little bit of a brisk breeze to it, so you certainly want to be bundling up, just like how I'm dressed, Nicole. We got a hat on, a scarf, nice mittens, warm boots, good traction. That's certainly going to be needed. And look at that slate gray sky. So no sunshine this morning, not with the flurries flying.
And it's so hard to believe, Chris, that back on November 5th, it was 25 degrees and we were breaking records for how warm it was. And now we're just diving into the winter weather. Do you see people dressed appropriately for today out there?
Yes, so far I do. And, a couple of people have sounded a little surprised, and they've said that very same thing. Said last week they were wearing shorts, and now anything but. But everybody seems to be taking it in stride. Haven't had anybody really complain about it, and I think it's because it's the first one, and it's still the shine hasn't worn off yet. The novelty is still very much there. People are just starting to come out now on the street. We're at the Young Dundas Square, so right in the heart of downtown Toronto. This is an area where a lot of people take transit, and I think that's probably a good idea today to take public transit, stay off the roads, or as you've been mentioning, if you have the option, work from home.
Yeah, if you have the option to work from home, or, just wait a few hours before you head out the door in the GTA specifically, because as you go east, you're still dealing with it around Kingston and Ottawa ongoing through the mid-afternoon. A zoomed in look here, downtown Toronto where Chris is, sort of seeing that snow fill back in. So seeing the flurries there, seeing it around Guelph up towards Owen Sound, around Milton certainly, Hamilton as well, and around Barrie, seeing a bit of a break too there. So that's nice. Taking a look at, the record books. Our forecast high today is about 2 degrees. Our record high was 16, but take a look at our record snowfall, 5.8 centimeters. So, we're used to snow in November. On average, we see 8 centimeters for the month. So this is pretty typical for this time of year, of course, especially, middle of November. What's left to go? That's the big question. That's probably why you're tuning in, right? We've got under 2 centimeters here across Toronto up towards Barrie. But again, east is where the timing of this is still going into your mid-afternoon. So while we'll clear out around 11, 12 o'clock in Toronto and Southern Ontario in general, the East End and Southern Quebec and Montreal, you're still going to be dealing with it until it wraps up into tomorrow. And tomorrow, I do need to mention that really even tonight, northwest winds will give us lake effect snow, and that's going to be our next snow story to be following. But reiterating this on the roads for you, we are seeing a clearing trend. So our forecast road conditions are going to go from snowy to slushy to a lot better by this evening, Nadine. But, that's easy for me to say because right now on the roads, it is not looking good. On the radar, you can see it. It's just the worst timing of it, I think. But I think what was good is yesterday, because that snow started to fly mid-morning and through the afternoon, we got that appetizer. So I think that really prepped people. It was kind of like a warm-up before the big, workout right now.
Yeah, it gave us that mental preparation that this is what I will perhaps have to be dealing with on Wednesday morning. And, we've seen some of the roads, they look clear, but obviously from vehicles that have been pulled off to the side, obviously there are problems there. And I'll take you through the radar imagery here, and I'm controlling it manually just so that you can get a good sense of how things have progressed through the last little while. So this is from, say, about 7 o'clock or so just about 26 to 30 minutes ago. And you can see there, we see that snowfall continuing just to the west end of the city. So as we zoom in here, just to the latest frame, if anyone is doing any traveling, say, for instance, coming in from Orangeville, down Highway 10 through Brampton, heading down toward the QEW, and then you get into the west end of the city, you'll be driving into that snowfall. You'll see there as well, coming along the QEW, the 403 combination. We've got a couple of areas where we are into that snowfall. So from west end of Toronto to around, say, Oakville region. But then once you head into Oakville toward Burlington, you get into a bit of a break there. So there are some patches some areas where there are patches in the snowfall and things are a little bit better. And you can see as well here, once you hit Burlington toward the Hamilton region, we've got some snow within that region. And then you try to catch back the 401 heading down toward the Cambridge region and even toward the Guelph area. Anyone traveling to and from those regions, we are seeing that snowfall across the area. Now, for folks who are headed toward the east of the city coming into or from, you can see from about, say, just west of Cobourg heading toward the Oshawa region, stretching down in toward Toronto, we are into snowy driving conditions there. So certainly variable across southern Ontario and the GTA. But we are seeing we're going to head out now to Chris. Chris is in downtown Toronto. And Chris, looks like you've got a friend. You've made friends.
Yes. I do. We have Claudia here. Now, Claudia, where are you on your way to?
I am on the way to a workout class very early in the morning, but we're getting there.
And then school afterwards?
Yeah, right after.
And what are you taking?
I am taking, in terms of transport?
Yes. No, in class.
Oh, in class. I'm doing a social media lab.
Look at that. Journalism.
Yeah, journalism for the program.
You could put this this interview on your resume.
I know.
So, Claudia, honest opinion here. What do you think of this snow?
I think it's horrible. I know a lot of people are excited about the first snowfall, but I'm not a cold weather person.
Yeah.
So it's been cute to see, but once you step outside, I'm over it.
So the novelty's already worn off.
Yeah.
So
it was cute from the window.
So about getting around, do you feel you've dressed warm enough?
I think so. I think yesterday was a good first reveal to the weather, and I've been able to layer up since then better.
Well, you got the scarf on, you got the warm boots on, looking still very fashionable,
Thank
by the
you.
way, as well. Now, have you found it slippery on your walk at all?
A little bit. I think everyone's done a really good job at clearing the streets to make it easier to walk, but without a doubt, it has been a little slushy.
Claudia, I hope you get full marks for participating here. Thank you for doing that. Good luck with your workout. And this is all be tapering off this afternoon. I'd love to say it's going to be 25 degrees tomorrow, but it won't be.
I know. It's just going to get worse, isn't it?
Favorite season?
Fall.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we're technically still fall, you know.
I know, but clearly the snow has ruined it for me a bit.
All right, thank you very much, Claudia. So yeah, we're getting mixed reaction, you might say. Some people they want more snow, and then others are thinking, enough already. So back inside, just keep in mind that it is a little bit slippery out there. It is that slushy, wet snow. Good texture, for a snowball or snowman as well, but that also means it's very heavy to shovel too.
Good point, Chris. Well, winter certainly arrived yesterday. Pearson picked up 4.2 centimeters. Last time we had accumulating snow for Toronto was back on Easter Monday, where we saw just over 6 centimeters. Now, November on average sees 9 centimeters of snow for the month, so this is pretty typical. And, another stat here before I get to how much is left to go. To take a look at the record books, November 16th, the record daily snowfall is 5.8 centimeters. So by the end of today, we're going to add up what has fallen since midnight and see what happened. What is left to go, though, is under 2 centimeters here across southern Ontario specifically. Go east towards Kingston, the nation's capital, though, and we're looking at closer to 5 centimeters of snow. Snow is tapering off. You could see a few, scattered flurries still by mid-afternoon, but it's more so just going to be cloudy. And then it's the east section of the 401 towards southern Quebec where it's going to be more of a tricky travel situation. And speaking of tricky travel, just a heads up, by tonight, lake effect sets up. So, you've got the shores of Georgian Bay and Lake Huron that through Thursday are going to be dealing with some hefty snowfall totals in some parts. Plus, Buffalo by the end of this week is going to get hammered with a lot of snow. So the snow this morning, again, the forecast road conditions here are going to be by this evening. Nice and, not dry per se, but not dealing with the snow falling or the slushiness. And temperature-wise this evening, settling into -1 for Toronto. So, it's because we're hovering, Nadine, just around that freezing mark. That's a little bit more slushy. We're just easing into it. I'd rather that than it be already like -5. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it all. Are you?
Well, I think I'm with you. I'm okay with it, but I think Claudia, who was talking to to Chris just a little while ago, we're all within the same general camp. We like to look at it from the inside, but then when you have to actually be out in it, when you have somewhere to go, that's when things become problematic. It's fun for the kids, but not for the adults because we have to do all of the cleaning. I want to take you to a tweet here from at Life in a Log Home, North Lancaster, sending this one in to us. And you can see there some snowy scenes in the backyard. What a pretty sight. You can see there not a whole lot in terms of accumulation. Of course, all of the leaves are long gone. Beautiful, cozy little gazebo there. But certainly the snow is continuing to come down. And you know, Nicole was mentioning the fact that we still have just a couple of centimeters to go. So, of course, it's just about, say, 7:33 right now. So anyone heading out the door for your morning commute, wherever you are coming from across Southern Ontario, across the GTA, there we can see there are a couple of areas where it's a little bit better now. So if we take a look now right along the QEW, you'll notice coming around from St. Catharines, Grimsby, Stony Creek toward Hamilton, it's cleared out within that area. So some good news there with regard to that drive. But again, coming in from northwest of Toronto, we're still seeing some snow-covered roadways. Chris, it is still coming down. I can see some fine snowflakes in downtown.
Yes. Absolutely, Nadine. It's the small flakes. You can see that battleship gray sky, completely overcast. You know, the wind really is not that much of an issue, maybe just providing a slight wind chill. It is the kind of snow, though, that's that wet, heavy, slushy snow. I want to show you here. It's been a few years since I tried to make a snowman, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of gave up. It's hard work. How do the kids do it? I'm not sure. But anyways, well, we won't dwell on that. That snowman's clearly seen better day. Oh, by the way, have you seen on the Weather Network the bear that attacked the snowman? Well, that's running on our program, so hopefully you can stay tuned to that. Anyhow, down here at Young Dundas Square in downtown Toronto, where the snow is falling lightly, been talking with some people. Pretty much a mixed reaction. Some are absolutely loving it, others not so much. And I guess that's probably par for the course. I mean, technically the first day of winter is December 21st. The first day of meteorological winter is December 1st. But November snow is, it's not unheard of. It may be unwelcome depending on your point of view, but it's certainly not unheard of. So last week, yeah, we were basking in temperatures there that were well above seasonal. But, you know, those days are gone for now anyhow. So anyways, downtown Toronto, give yourself lots of extra time walking. It's a little bit slippery as well, brushing off the car. And as I've been mentioning all morning, also make sure to top up on that windshield washer fluid as well, because the roads are greasy and you don't want to be caught without there. And by the way, just a quick mention, if you're heading to the airport, northbound 427 near the airport, jackknife tractor trailer there blocking a ramp. Hope everybody's okay. That's going to take a few hours to clean up.
Okay, so Chris, I have a question for you. When, you know, you see a snowfall like this, the first snowfall, does this make you, one, want to book that vacation to Mexico or wherever, or two, plan for, you know, skiing and winter stuff? Which way do you go?
Well, you know, I would like to say as a Canadian, definitely number two, but if I'm going to be perfectly honest, it's one. I want to go somewhere tropical. But, you know, this is just the first of many more snowfalls. So, Nicole, I will say, I think this is a pretty good, you know, test for all of us. I was talking to a police officer just off camera there, and I wanted to get his advice about how's it been so far. And he said people have been very cognizant of this, and he's been impressed. So let's hope that that trend continues. Yeah, like I said, we'll think of this as the rehearsal for more and more to come. But, you know, we're certainly not going to see the 40 centimeters of snow today that we did, obviously, that we remember last January. So we're not going to regress to that point.
No, certainly not for today, but who knows in the long range? You never know. I just want to take you into some current temperatures right now. This is our wind chills, and we've got -9 is what it feels like in Sault Ste. Marie. -5 is what it feels like in Toronto. As we look at our visibility, you know, it's under 1 kilometer for Kingston as well as Ottawa. So we've got more heavy, thick snow sitting over that area. Hamilton's 6 kilometers, so, you know, not doing too bad. Our wind gusts, you know, nothing nice to ride home about, but still around Hamilton, gusts up to 41 kilometers an hour. So you're feeling the chill. And this is the additional snow left to go. It's just under 2 centimeters. So the bulk of it has already fallen. Roads are just looking a little wet because our temperatures, in Toronto proper and, just around Hamilton, for example, along that 401 corridor, temperatures have been flirting with the freezing mark. So yes, we're getting the snow, but it's not enough to really coat the roads long enough. So, that's a good thing for our first snowfall of the season, for people to get the winter tires on, get ready for more of this. And so Nadine, I'll ask you, I maybe know the answer to this, but is this snow getting you excited about a getaway vacation or getting outside in the winter snow?
I'll be quite honest, as a matter of fact, it got me excited for Christmas. And I was looking for my Christmas tree last night to put it up and could not find it.
You found it though.
But I did. Thankfully,
Good.
2 kilometers after I found it. My app said that I walked 2 kilometers. Looking,
Got the steps in.
Looking for
Got
the
the
Christmas
steps
tree.
in.
But I did find it, and it will be lit tonight.
Amazing. Yeah, perfect night for it.
Yes.
All right, tell us on the radar who's seeing the worst of it right now for travel.
Okay, so before we get to the radar, because of course it is quite variable wherever you are, I want to take you to a picture here. This was sent to us. Erin Wangston, downtown Toronto East End, one of our friends here at the Weather Network, tweeting or showing us that 4.5 centimeters of snowfall. So yes, many areas getting into 4, 5, 6, 7. Milton picked up 9 centimeters of snowfall, and we can see here on the radar that it is still snowing in the Milton area. So depending on where you are, I've got good news, I've got bad news for you. So first of all, let's give you the bad news before the good news. So you can see there along Highway 10 from Orangeville coming down toward Brampton, we're still looking at some snowfall through that region, and right along the QEW coming into the west end of the city from say Mississauga toward the Oakville region. And this is quite a bit of snowfall still through Milton, Guelph, in and around Kitchener, Waterloo region. But then I'll give you the good news now. We'll see here, we've been tracking some snowfall and mixing coming around the QEW since the morning. We can see there we're starting to get some breaks, so some nice patches for anyone coming in from, say, Vineland through Stony Creek toward the Hamilton area. There are some breaks in that snowfall there, so some clearer patches through that region. But if you do have travel heading north of the city, so heading up the 400, some good news there as well. We've got some dry conditions where we've got a wide area where we've got some breaks in the snowfall. So quite nice for us there as well. But then anyone traveling along the 401 east of the city, you'll be traveling into some snowfall. But we want to head outside to Chris, who's in downtown Toronto. And Chris is a popular guy because he's making more friends.
Making new friends, absolutely, Nadine. And we've got some visitors here. And where are you from?
I'm from Ireland.
And your name?
Chris.
Chris?
Yeah.
I'm Chris too. There you are. And you are?
Rebecca,
Rebecca, where are you from?
England.
And how long are you visiting for?
3 days.
3 days. And you are?
I'm Karen from Manchester, UK.
Wow. And how long are you here for?
7 days.
7 days. Okay, so my question is this. What do you think of the snow?
I love the snow, but not for too long. I used to live here 2 years ago,
Okay.
and I'm only back for a few days, and I'm like, get me out of here.
Well, I love the honesty. How about you? Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I don't like the cold, but I do love the snow, but I'm a bit of a wimp with the cold. But yeah, it's beautiful.
Now,
Love
do you-
it, beautiful place.
Do you think it's looking like this in Manchester today?
No.
Not a chance.
That's why I've come here. I love the snow.
Now,
I want the snow.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you feel warm enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're tough. That's right. Okay, so November snow is not unusual, but when you see it falling like this the first time, like, is there a certain joy? I'm looking for the positives here.
Yeah,
love the air.
yeah, I love it. It's great.
And you love the air?
The good air, yeah.
It-
I live in London, so it's not
Oh.
as clear as air as this, but I love getting my lungs filled with this kind of air.
And it's like a fresh blanket out
Yeah.
here. It cleans everything. It's lovely. Get in the mood for Christmas, perhaps, everything. So you're flying out tonight, when are you flying back out?
I'm going to Cuba on Friday for 8 days.
Well,
so-
my heart bleeds for you, really. Yes, Cuba sounds pretty
so
good.
one extreme to the other. It'll be nice and warm there, so I'm getting the best of both.
Well, you can tell everybody poolside that you survived the snowstorm before you got here. Listen, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on the Weather Network. Safe travels today. Safe travels back home. Thank you again. And Chris, good handle there.
Cheers.
Nice meeting you. Okay, we'll hand it back inside, making new friends. And you can see, even if people aren't overly loving it, they're still taking it certainly in stride. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's still a little bit of a novelty, for now.
Yeah, and I think she's okay with it. I mean, she's getting on a plane to Cuba tomorrow. So
I know, yeah. I think
she's
that,
like,
I think
it's okay.
that's way
It's okay.
big time for sure.
Well, Chris, this is a reminder.
Oh, my
I have
goodness.
not applied for my youngest daughter's passport yet, and my older daughter needs a new one.
Oh.
So I've had that on my list to do for months. Today's the day that it's going to happen, just in case we need to get away at some point in the winter. So for this morning, the radar, coming in and out with snow here, Toronto up towards Barrie. It's been a little bit more persistent around Guelph. Our very own Dr. Doug, a meteorologist here at the Weather Network, is in Milton. He said he's recorded 9 centimeters of snow. And you know what? That's pretty much what we were forecasting in Southern Ontario, that 5 to 10 centimeters. What's left to go for the general GTA is about 2 centimeters. So it is tapering off. This is 12 o'clock Eastern time. Look to the east for it to continue along the 401 into Kingston in nation's capital, southern Quebec, eastern townships, and then we'll watch for lake effect snow in the wake of this. But, before we get there, visibility not that great around Ottawa and Kingston, of course, with that more persistent snow. And where we're seeing just a little bit gustier winds is around Hamilton and London. So making the snow fly around. And just quickly before we get to Nadine, just a reminder, the fall reality check on average in November, Toronto sees 9 centimeters of snow, Ottawa's 19. You got St. John's at 20 centimeters, and Yellowknife is laughing at us. 35 centimeters, Nadine, on average for November. So, the 4 centimeters that fell in Toronto yesterday, we can handle it, right?
Yeah, I think we can. I'd have to admit that we are weather wimps, or snow wimps, I should say.
Yes.
We are wimps. I will admit it. Yes, we are wimps. But I will say, if I don't have to drive in it, I'm not in a rush to go anywhere. I don't mind. It's okay. I don't mind shoveling. It's a pretty sight. And, Sophie Ross here in Ottawa tweeting that this is just such a pretty winter wonderland. First snowfall of the season. So a few of us are liking it and enjoying it. But let's get to the radar, because that's going to show us the roads and what conditions are like for anyone who's heading out this morning. Now, despite the fact that it is light and it will be improving for us through the morning hours, there are still a couple of troublesome spots for us. And depending on where you are, it's quite variable conditions for us. You can see there, heading north of the city, there is a region where we are seeing some breaks in the snowfall right now. So that's good news there, because conditions will be a little bit better on the roads for us there. But then you see just to the west and to northwest of Toronto, that's where we're still seeing some light snowfall coming down. But then again, we have some breaks there just around the QEW heading toward the Niagara region. We show there that picture from the Ottawa region, and Nicole had been talking about this as well, but we're certainly seeing some of the darker blues now through parts of eastern Ontario and into southern Quebec. So if you were an early bird and you headed out early, you're following us on digital, you're seeing there, we're seeing that snowfall for us this morning across eastern Ontario into southern Quebec. This will likely continue into this afternoon as well. So certainly the brunt of the heavier snowfall right now through the east, but it's quite variable across the GTA. And Chris Murphy is in downtown Toronto. It is still snowing, and it is all white behind you, Chris.
It really is, and it's quite beautiful. It's not so much fun maybe out on the roadways. Bridges, ramps, they're going to be extra slippery. Temperatures have been hovering just around or slightly below the freezing mark. I've been bringing props and showing them all morning, things that you want to make sure topping up on the windshield washer fluid. Of course, I'm talking to some drivers there, and as well, you want to make sure, give yourself extra time. Do you remember where you put the snow brush as well? You'll need to put that in the car and keep it in there. This is the first of will likely be several snowfalls, obviously, through the winter, and also the type of snow it is. This is that packing snow, good for snowmen and good for, snowballs and stuff like that. But it also means that it's heavy to move. Now, not everybody's going to have to shovel. A lot of these places we saw the snow sort of melt on contact, but downtown Toronto, this is an urban, an urban heat island, and we are certainly seeing lots of slushy conditions on the roads, and it's accumulating elsewhere as well. So we got a good 5 to 10 centimeters down. At least visibility, now that the light is up, is pretty good. But just look at that sky. That is a battleship gray sky. That is those are nimbostratus clouds, and that means that we've just been getting this steady light snow for now. Improving through the morning. You've been hearing Nicole and Nadine talk about that. But for now, though, enjoy it. It's the first one of the year. It's romantic. David Phillips, the great David Phillips, always said that the most romantic weather is snow. And I'm looking around here, and it's kind of hard to disagree with him.
Okay, I'm gonna adjust that. The most romantic weather is the first snowfall of the season, because the last one, I think that's a marriage ruiner.
Not so romantic.
That's all right, we've had enough. I made Chris laugh.
Yes.
I feel like I never do that. Okay, so taking a look at the radar here, just about half an hour ago, scattered flurries were flying across the sky where downtown Toronto where Chris was. So, starting to clear out a little bit. Even that drive along the 400, a little clearer from the, flurries perspective towards Barrie, thinning out from Stratford, extending into Milton, Cambridge, as well as Guelph. But, as you're getting on the roads right now and for the next, hour or so, it's still going to be an issue with the scattered flurries. But 11, 12 o'clock here, snow is tapering off, still going to be cloudy, but then we're worried about Kingston, Ottawa, Montreal for the ongoing snow into the afternoon, evening for today. By tonight, lake effect snow does set up, and that'll be the next story we're following. And you might not want to pay attention to that yet. You're like, just get me through this morning. So yes, I'll get you through this morning, where road conditions by the mid-afternoon, evening here, clearing out. So yes, they'll still be wet, but much better for that commute home. And quickly before we get to Nadine here, the record book showing, our forecast high is 2 degrees. Our normal is 7. So we are below that. But the record daily snowfall for this date is 5.8 centimeters. So we're going to have to add up how much did fall for today, because we got that additional 2 centimeters. So we could be maybe close to that record, probably not smashing it, Nadine, but certainly just reminds us that we're still on track for what we typically see in November.
Yes, Nicole, and you're showing the snowfall accumulations, what's still left to come. So that answers the question for Lillian de Rijk in the Barrie Aurelia area. She's been wanting to know how much more snowfall for the region, and just about a couple more centimeters left for you, Lillian, in and around the Barrie region. But right now, though, we are still seeing, you can see just north of Barrie toward Aurelia, most of that snowfall is just to the north of you. But say, for instance, I'm not sure if you'll be heading southward. If you're heading southward right now and over the next couple of minutes or so, things look quite good on the 400. So that is some good news there. And just a couple centimeters still left for the Barrie Aurelia region. But continuing to take a look at where we are seeing that snowfall right now, it is certainly to the west end of the city. If we zoom in a bit here for Toronto, heading down the QEW, the 401, the 403, we are still seeing some light snowfall along those routes there. So certainly conditions will perhaps be a little bit slick on the roads. Now the plows have been out, the salters as well. So on the roadways, that should be cleared. So that is some good news there. But there is still a couple more centimeters of snow to come for us for this morning before everything pushes off toward the east. Anyone doing any traveling for us to the east end of the city, heading up towards the Ajax, Oshawa, toward Newcastle into Cobourg region, we're still seeing some snow through that region and along the highway. So while the roads will be cleared because of the clearing efforts, it will still be falling. So you'll still need the washer fluid and to have your windshield wipers going. So Chris, I know you've been showing the washer fluid, having the proper one, because of course you need it to be able to melt with these cold temperatures.
Oh yeah, the summer stuff's not going to cut it, Nadine. Not by a long shot. It's been a fun morning down here. We've met some new friends, and we've been getting some. I like the honesty. Some people are just absolutely loving the snow, and others are like, it was nice when I looked out the window, but when I got out in it, it's like I've had enough. And of course, we had some tourists here visiting, and I think. For a lot of tourists, if they're here and they're seeing this beautiful snowfall there, especially if they're from somewhere that maybe it's not snowing now or doesn't snow often, that this is it's a special thing. And I certainly would agree. And you know what? I think the first snowfall is always special regardless. I know many parts of the country have already had their first, and in some cases, multiple snowfalls. This is all the same system that's, bringing snow to Ottawa and Montreal and northern New Brunswick to come as well. But right now, and it has been for pretty steady all morning. It's been this light snow. The winds have been, maybe in that 15 to 20 kilometer an hour range. So certainly, bundling up. Look how I'm dressed. This is how you want to be dressed. You got the hat, the scarf, a good winter jacket, gloves, and certainly good boots, warm boots with good traction, because underneath the snow, you can see it's a little bit slippery, a little bit icy. So not everybody's driving. A lot of people are walking. And one more plea from me as well is that if you have a sidewalk that's covered with snow, you want to clear that as well for accessibility reasons too. So other than that, enjoy the snow from downtown Toronto. It looks gorgeous.
Aw, it does look nice. It's pretty. I'm getting in the holiday spirit. This is a reminder that I've got to, get the Christmas shopping done. It is a really magical time of year. And, that snow arrived yesterday. Pearson picked up 4.2 centimeters to be exact. And we haven't seen snowfall accumulate in Toronto since back on Easter in April, Easter Monday. So, we were due. Visibility's gone down a little bit here in Kingston to just 805 meters. So certainly if you're traveling east out of Toronto, you're going to be dealing with the ongoing snowfall there. So just the scattered flurries still persists in the GTA, and then our peak winds strongest around Hamilton and London, but there's no wind warnings in place. It's just these wet, slick, slushy roads that will persist for the next couple of hours before it does wrap up. It's just the timing of it has been during our morning commute. So I'll show you here by about 11, 12 o'clock, snow tapers off, dealing with cloud cover east towards Kingston and Ottawa. As I mentioned, it'll be ongoing. And then we get a nice little finisher, Nadine, with lake effect setting up. So snow will be ongoing there in the traditional snowbelt regions, and Buffalo as well heading into this weekend. If you do any cross-border shopping, there's a lot of sales happening ahead of Thanksgiving in the U.S. So it's not going to be fun there.
No, it certainly will not, Nicole. And of course, we had a little taste of lake effect here in downtown Toronto, or at least the west end of Lake Ontario yesterday with that east wind. But this time we're going to go back, like you were saying, Nicole. Once this is all said and done and wrapped up, we're going to go back to getting into the those winds coming out of the northwest, so coming off of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. We'll get into that lake effect. But then you were mentioning, Nicole, coming off the shores, the lower lakes region. Once we get into, say, for instance, that wind coming out of the southwest, that's where we will actually see the Niagara region, Buffalo getting into some of that lake effect. And that could be significant as we look toward the next few days. And also as well through parts of eastern Ontario, so around, say, Kingston, Belleville region. That's what you've got to look forward to in the coming days once this wraps up. But you can see there from the radar that there are some breaks in there. So some good news for much of southern Ontario, southern central Ontario, where the snowfall will be wrapping up, but there's still more to come across the east.
Yep, certainly is. And Chris, you've been doing a great job out there. The flurries are back in. It's kind of been in and out. The radar has been showing exactly what you've been seeing there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is that light snow, and it has been consistent. At least but visibility seems to be improving. And but we're starting to now turn to our attention to making sure we have our emergency kits already prepared in the car, at our homes and stuff. Because this for the Southern Ontario, at least in the Toronto area, this is the first snowfall, and I think Nicole and Nadine, I think this has been a pretty good test. It's manageable, even though it's falling in the morning rush hour. And you've been talking, of course, about those snow squalls. I mean, poor Buffalo is about to get buffaloed by those beastly squalls.
Yeah, so just for our viewers here in Southern Ontario, through this mid-morning, you've got an additional under 2 centimeters left to go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this first significant snowfall of the season.